welcome into the pregame show. We got a big night for you tonight. After the pregame show's over, the ball game's going to be online on your phone, on your computer, wherever. We're going to have the link up on all my pages as Shoemaker takes on those Bryan Vikings. I'm here with Coach Toby Foreman, and big night for you back at home. Good to be back at home. I'm calling Searles your home now.
No, we do like
it's on your side of town.
Yeah, no, we like playing at Searles Stadium. We do consider it kind of our home, even though we play a few games at Buckley. I mean, Buckley's a staple. When I got here, that's the only stadium we had.
You were on the other side of the field last week, so you're a visitor.
Either way, it takes us 20 minutes to get to the stadium, regardless which one we go to.
Yeah, you know the good route then.
Yeah, we know all the routes. The irony is, well, I'm not going to talk about the irony, but there is one stadium that's closer to us, a high school stadium, but it's not in our zone. So
it's not as nice either. But anyway, that's just my opinion. But we're here to talk about last week's game against the Clean Kangaroos. 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, and they came by way of special teams, defense, and offense. So in the second half, it didn't feel like the offense was even on the field much because I think we had 2 one-play drives on offense. We had a block punt for a touchdown, and we had an interception return for a touchdown. So I think we ran 12 offensive plays in the second half, which is not very many. We only had like 40 total for the game. So, but either way, I said this in the post-game interview. Kudos to Coach Locks and our defensive staff and our defensive players for not listening to all the noise on the outside. Telling them how bad the defense was and giving up 6,000 points or whatever, and then we come back with, I believe, I may be wrong about this, I think it's the only shutout in 12-6A this year so far, the 49-0 shutout, and that's a big deal because we pride ourselves in holding the offenses to minimal. But anytime in 2025 you can hold an offense to no points, that's a big deal with all the spread out athletes that are in this town and that are over there at Kalina.
Yeah, and after the game, of course, you met at midfield and shook hands with Josh, and back to being friends again after a week of adversity against each other, I guess. Yeah,
Josh is a good friend of mine. He's a good person, and we've coached against each other for off and on for about the last 18, 20 years. And, they're going through some struggles right now, but, I told him this before the game. The fact that I look on film and with the record they have, the kids are still playing hard for 4 quarters. That says a lot about the culture he's building over there and trying to build over there. And it just sometimes these things take time, and we went through it here. And at the beginning when we got here, it was where we were struggling to get the wins. But in reality, there's 3 or 4 games this year that they had opportunity to win. They just couldn't close it out. And you look up at our game, it's 13-0 at halftime. And I think it's the lowest point total we were held to all year at halftime was 13 points. And again, their defense is probably a little bit further ahead of their offense, and that probably has to do with the amount of people they lost last year at the receiver position and the quarterback being injured. But, they'll be fine. And, they gave us a run for our money for about, 2.5 quarters. It just we ended up putting them away late in that game.
Wish them good luck over in Temple, that's for sure.
Yeah, I wish them good luck on the rest of the season because I think they got 3 or 4. They got 3 tough games left, and but they'll be prepared.
Well, let's talk about those Bryan Vikings. I know you got a chance to watch some film on them. They're a team that hasn't done that well this year either, but you never know.
No, and their head coach I'm very familiar with is my former college roommate. So we lived together in college, and he's he's got a state championship ring as a head coach at George Ranch. He was a head coach at Pearland. He did a great job when he was head coach at Cleveland. So I'm very familiar with Coach Cchelles, Ricky Cchelles. He shares similar philosophy than I do on defense, and so I know they'll be very defensive oriented. He's a defensive guy. He was a strong safety in college, but they're led really by their defensive end, Chester Gooden Jr. He's a senior, and sophomore John Smith. He's a nose guard, number 75. Both those guys are really good players, along with inside backer number 8, Wyatt Bryan, and he's a senior, and number 12, Carson Dodd. And those guys really kind of set the tone in their front, and that's what they're best at on their team, in my opinion, is the defensive front. In the secondary, they got Zacaden Weathersby. He's a junior cornerback. And then if you flip it over to the offense side of the ball, they do have a young offense. They don't have a lot of people coming back. But the one guy I'm going to point out, he hasn't played a whole lot. I don't know if he's hurt or what the situation. JaValen Wade he's a running back that last year lit it up in our district. Like I said, statistically, he's not like where he was last year, but man, when he gets his shoulder square and going, with a full head of steam, he's a problem. And you've got to really, you got to make sure you slow him down early because he can get going, and it'll be a long night for your defense.
They've always had a good running back at Bryan, going back to Curtis Dickey. I remember watching him run back in the 70s, and Bryan High has always had a good running back. I don't know if they grow him there or what.
Yeah, so I'm not really old enough to remember when Dickey was playing, but I have met the man. I have met him one time. But overall, we know this is going to be a very well-coached team, and they're going to play really hard, and they have athletes. And so it's going to come down to everything else, any other game, blocking, tackling, special teams, and turnovers. And any time that we this season that we've done well in those categories, we've won the game, and we've won it going away. And so our plan is to show up early. We can't have a first half that looked like blah like last week. We've got to get things going early because we don't want to give them hope or keep them in the game.
Has the off week been pretty quiet around here, or not?
It was quiet until earlier we had people screaming in our hallway. I don't know what that was about, but for the most part, it has been kind of quiet. Low key, like I like it. But our kids have been here. We hadn't had kids miss practice. We've had kids on time, and we've had a great week of practice.
Well, that's what when that off week comes and the kids are home, they get a little bit of rest too, and they get a little bit more excited about the ball game. They get to think about it, study it a little bit more. So that's always a good thing too. And always, you let them sleep in the morning, or they got their morning practice and go?
I do let them sleep in a little bit. When we had our Memorial Day practice or Labor Day, I can't remember. Labor Day practice in September. I try to get them up here early, and the practice was. If I had hair, I would have pulled my hair out. So I told our coaches, hey, this is not a morning group. I'm not going to force it on them. So we normally start around 2 o'clock, 1:32. That way they're good and awake. They've eaten. They've hydrated. I don't like to change the routine. We normally start practice at 3:30 or 4. Yeah. And so, I'm not going to, I know my team, and I know what they're when they're at their best. They're at their best around that afternoon time. And it's still a little warm, though, for this time of the year. I kind of got a little tan from yesterday. I came in, I was red. I was like, why am I red? But it was warm outside, so we're looking for not a cold front, but we would love a cool front, maybe to come through and chill us out a little bit.
Sometime before the end of the football season,
We plan on playing for a while, so but I would like for that thing to hit here in the next couple of weeks because we only have, in the next 16, 17 days, we'll get a bye. 16 days, we'll get a bye, and it's much needed. We got to go through October, and then, man, when November the 1 gets here, trust me, we're gonna rest a little bit. Yeah. We're gonna lick our wounds and rest a little bit because we're fairly healthy right now this time of the year. But there's some guys they're not playing as much because of knick-knack injuries and aches and pains. But you can expect that because we've already had a scrimmage. 7 straight games. So we've been playing somebody for 8 straight weeks, and that's going to continue for another 3. So when you have to go 11 straight weeks, collegiate teams don't do that. That only happens in the NFL. That said, we just got to get healthy, and we're ready for that bye soon.
All right. Once again, it's going to be broadcast on the radio. On the radio, I'm so used to saying that over the years. On the internet, we'll have the link up on the Facebook page, on Instagram, Twitter, X. Coach will retweet it also on his page, and so you can follow that link and listen to it live wherever you might be, worldwide. Okay, all right. Good luck out there tonight.
Well, I appreciate it, and it's a Thursday night game. Anytime it's a Thursday night game, kind of different game time start. Fans is maybe getting off work. We appreciate everybody coming out and support us tonight, and as always, go Gray Wolves.
This has been an I-14 Sports Network production, bringing the heat from the heart of Central Texas.